In a distant land where the sun kissed the horizon with shades of gold and orange, there lay a vast jungle known as the Wildwood. This jungle was a tapestry of lush greenery, towering trees, and hidden dangers. Animals roamed freely, some majestic, others ferocious. It was in this wild expanse that a small boy named Kieran found himself lost and alone. Kieran was only 12, with wild hair that matched the untamed jungle around him. He had wandered into the wildwood while chasing a butterfly, mesmerized by its vibrant colors. But as he chased it deeper into the jungle, he lost track of time and the path home. When he finally turned back, the familiar sights of his village were gone, replaced by dense foliage and the sounds of creatures he had only heard about in stories. With a mix of determination and fear, Kieran set off to find his way back. The sun hung high in the sky, casting a dappled light through the leaves, but shadows lurked beneath. As he walked, he stumbled upon a small stream. His parched throat ached for water, so he knelt down and cupped his hands, drinking greedily. As he quenched his thirst, he heard rustling in the bushes nearby. His heart raced. He turned just in time to see a pair of glowing eyes staring back at him. A jaguar, sleek and powerful, emerged from the underbrush, its muscles coiled and ready to pounce. Kieran's instincts kicked in. He scrambled to his feet and ran, darting through the trees, branches whipping at his face. The jaguar was fast, but Kieran was fueled by adrenaline and the desperate need to survive. He dashed through the thicket, weaving between trees and leaping over roots. Just when he thought he might escape, he tripped and fell, hitting the ground hard. The jaguar paused, a low growl rumbling from its throat. Kieran, trembling, rolled to his feet and continued running, knowing that if he stopped, it would be the end. After what felt like an eternity, he reached a clearing. The jaguar had given up the chase, retreating back into the shadows. Kieran collapsed, gasping for breath. He looked around, realizing he was in a part of the jungle he didn't recognize. The trees were taller here, their trunks thick and ancient. Above, the canopy whispered with the sounds of birds and rustling leaves. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the jungle, Kieran knew he needed to find food and shelter. His stomach growled, reminding him of his hunger. He decided to move toward the mountains he had seen in the distance, hoping to find a way out of the jungle. The journey to the mountains was fraught with challenges. Kieran navigated through dense undergrowth, clambered over fallen logs, and crossed slippery rocks by the stream. As he ventured deeper, he encountered various creatures, colorful birds that sang sweetly, curious monkeys swinging from branches, and even a small family of capybaras by the water's edge. Yet, danger lurked everywhere. Night fell quickly in the jungle, and with it came the sounds of predators. Kieran found a hollow in a large tree, where he could nestle himself for the night. As he curled up, exhaustion washed over him. But sleep was elusive, the sounds of growls and howls echoed in the distance. He knew he had to stay alert. The next morning, Kieran awoke to the soft glow of dawn filtering through the leaves. He was hungry and knew he needed to find food. Gathering his courage, he set off toward the mountains again. The sun rose higher, illuminating the jungle in a brilliant green light. Kieran spotted fruits hanging from branches and quickly picked a few. They were sour but nourishing, a welcome reprieve from his hunger. As he continued, he could see the mountains towering ahead, their peaks touching the sky. However, the path was steep and treacherous. Climbing would be no easy feat. Kieran approached the foothills, where the ground was rocky and loose. He took a deep breath and began his ascent, using roots and outcroppings to pull himself up. But nature had other plans. As he climbed, the ground beneath him shifted, and suddenly, a rock gave way. Kieran slipped, tumbling down the slope. Panic surged through him, but he managed to grab onto a vine just in time. He dangled there, heart racing, before carefully pulling himself back to safety. Once on solid ground, Kieran pressed on, determined to reach the top. After what felt like hours of climbing, he finally reached a plateau. The view was breathtaking, valleys of green stretching below and the sky so clear it felt like he could touch the clouds. But the tranquility was short-lived. He heard a rustling behind him. Before he could react, a wild boar charged at him, tusks gleaming menacingly. Kieran's heart raced. He had no choice but to confront the beast. He quickly grabbed a sturdy branch from the ground, brandishing it like a weapon. As the boar charged, Kieran sidestepped and swung the branch, hitting the boar hard on the side. The creature squealed in surprise, momentarily stunned. Kieran seized the opportunity to run, sprinting toward the edge of the plateau. He could hear the boar grunting and crashing through the underbrush behind him. Just as he reached a steep drop, he leapt over a boulder and landed on the other side, narrowly avoiding the boar's charge. It skidded to a halt, snorting in frustration. Panting heavily, Kieran continued along the rocky path, adrenaline surging through him. The mountains loomed ahead, a promise of safety and shelter. But as he navigated the narrow ledge, he spotted a cave entrance tucked away in the cliffside. It could offer protection from the wild animals below. He approached the cave cautiously, peering inside. The darkness was intimidating, but he needed a place to rest. Gathering his courage, he stepped inside. The cool air enveloped him as he moved further in. To his surprise, he found remnants of a small camp, a few scattered stones and the remnants of a fire. Kieran felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps someone else had found this place before him. He gathered sticks and dried leaves, igniting a small fire in the center of the cave. The flames danced brightly, casting warm light on the walls. For the first time since entering the jungle, he felt a sense of safety. As night fell, Kieran sat by the fire, eating the last of his fruits and reflecting on his journey. He had faced danger, learned to adapt, and found strength he never knew he possessed. But deep down, he yearned for home. Days turned into weeks as Kieran honed his survival skills in the mountains. He learned to forage for food, catch fish from the streams, and even identify the sounds of the jungle. Yet, every night, he gazed at the stars, wishing for the familiar sights of his village. One evening, as he sat by the fire, he heard a low rumble in the distance. The ground shook slightly, and Kieran's heart raced. The mountains were known for their unpredictable weather. Suddenly, a storm descended upon the jungle. Rain poured down in sheets, and winds howled like wild animals. Kieran hurried to secure his camp, but the storm was relentless. In the chaos, he noticed something glimmering at the cave's entrance, a flash of silver against the dark. Curiosity piqued, he ventured out into the storm. The downpour was fierce, but Kieran squinted against the rain, spotting a flash of lightning illuminating a small creature, a young deer, trembling and lost. Kieran's heart softened at the sight. He beckoned the deer toward the cave, where it could find shelter from the storm. The deer hesitated but eventually followed him inside. Kieran felt a bond form between them. He named the deer, Shanti, meaning peace. As the storm raged on, Kieran and Shanti huddled together in the warmth of the fire. The deer's presence brought him comfort. Together, they weathered the storm, the boy and the creature finding solace in one another. When the storm finally passed, the jungle was transformed. The air was fresh, and the scent of wet earth filled the cave. Kieran and Shanti emerged, blinking at the bright sunlight. He knew it was time to move again. Together, they set off down the mountain, determined to find their way home. The journey back was filled with challenges, but Kieran felt stronger now. He and Shanti navigated through the jungle, avoiding the dangers they once faced. They encountered new friends, playful monkeys that swung from branches and colorful birds that led them to hidden paths. Kieran's confidence grew as he learned to trust his instincts. Days later, after navigating through thick vines and treacherous trails, they finally spotted the edge of the jungle. Kieran's heart raced with anticipation. As they stepped into the clearing, the familiar sight of his village appeared, nestled beside a serene river. Relief washed over him. The villagers were surprised to see Kieran, and his parents rushed to embrace him. Tears streamed down his mother's face as she held him close, overwhelmed with joy. Kieran recounted his adventures, the dangers he faced, and the bond he formed with Shanti. In time, Kieran and Shanti became inseparable. He learned to respect the jungle and its creatures, understanding that they were part of the world he inhabited. Together, they explored the boundaries of the jungle and the mountains, creating a life full of adventure and friendship. Kieran,